searching there, she was going to get in trouble. All these things they told me that. Don't. Stay away. And when we got to 11:5, at 12:0, there's a patrol car. Pine Gregory's in the patrol car facing us to make sure that we don't get in that area. We respected that. I know a lot of you don't like to hear that, but it's the truth. On January 18th, 2019, tip came in that, and here's what we were told. Well, who found the body? That was my first question. They said, oh, just some guy out there looking for deer shit. What? Looking for deer shit? What the hell is deer shit? I'm not a deer hunter. Oh, that's when the deer's antlers fall off. Oh, why do you do that? So you can rattle. Oh, okay, well, I get that. We're thinking innocently enough, just deer shit. What were we originally told? That a man found it. On January 18th, 9 days later, we finally get an admission from a very nice lady in town. Hey guys, it wasn't just a guy. Pine Gregory was on duty in his patrol car, walking around in the field and walking around on the federal property, and found the body. What did they find? They found the head, they found femurs, they found chest cavity, right? Chest cavity, ribs, some ribs. That's what they found. They took it from forensics, confirmed it was Tom through teeth, mouth. They got upset with us as investigators because we issued the press release because it leaked out all over the place. There's so much conjecture on social media and everything else. Said, oh, that's not Tom. This is Tom. Oh, we just shut it down. So that's enough. It is Tom. We will announce the next steps. On February 1st through 3rd, we all flew up here. We went to Tom's memorial service. On July 11th, that's when I took my polygraph test. I'm sorry. That's when I took my polygraph test and passed. Next slide. Philip and Jane had a meeting with the AG regarding the findings in Pampa, Texas. We are invited, along with the family, to go to a meeting with your district attorney. Your district attorney comes up, says, oh, Klein, all you got is theory. Okay, you guys have been pushing that since the day I walked in the door. So keep pushing it, whatever. Everybody's got it. It's just like a finger. Everybody's got one. So, at the same time, nobody knows in the meeting, a raid is being undertaken at the Hemphill County Sheriff's Office. TCOL. Anybody know what TCOL is? TCOL is the governing agency for police officers. What do they find when they get in there? They find fake documents, and one good man, one great man stands up and says, I'm going to be honest. Not only is he putting fake documents in employees' files, but you know what else he's doing? He's putting fake documents in the Tom Brown case. He's writing, what are they called? Supplemental reports and putting it in the file. And he insinuates that it's not true. Our response to TCOL was, surprise, surprise. We've been living this for the last 2 years. The lies, the misleading. November 15th, after it comes out. Oh, and by the way, the good news is the sheriff is never charged with a crime, which infuriates us. Infuriates us. That's tampering with government documents. I don't know about y'all. Y'all are citizens. Your government should be the people on the foremost telling the truth. But they didn't file charges. Said resign, get out. And he did. During this time, Pine Gregory is told by the, I guess y'all up here, y'all have county attorneys, told by the county attorneys we're not accepting any cases from Pine Gregory anymore, and we're considering not assigning any cases or accepting any cases from the sheriff. Why? You can't have a liar as a sheriff because any good defense attorney is going to walk in the first day, put the sheriff on the stand and go, you ever lied? Huh? You ever lied? I didn't really lie. Oh, really? Well, let's do this. And start on it. And I guarantee you, any jury, y'all are the jury tonight. Any jury would kick his little butt out.
Amen.
That's bad. On November 15th, after tremendous amounts of pressure from the public, the sheriff resigns. During this time, one good cop that reported the sheriff, being the chief deputy, Flack, was fired from his job for being honest. Telling T. Cole what they were doing. You got fired. Your county commissioners, and I don't know if there's any county commissioners in here, but I got to shake your hand if you're here tonight. Because I guarantee you, they stood up and said, no, we're not putting up with that. Bring Clapp, you can have your job back, sheriff's gone. Bring Clapp, during this whole thing, has been one of the most honest lawmen that I've worked with in a long time. In March 2020, we are told, we get a phone call from the OAG. In the middle of COVID, at the beginning of COVID, actually. Hey, here's the deal. We're going to use a new investigatorial tool. What's that? We're going to convene a grand jury. Oh, okay, cool. Let's go. We'll get ready. What do you need from us? Just get your box ready, get your evidence in line, get everything ready to go. Okay, cool. March 2020, we are told by the Attorney General's office that they're going to focus after COVID, and we're going to hear it July 2021. That's when we are going in front of grand jury. Our team gets together, we cancel vacations, we put everything together, we've got a nice, neat consensus of the case for the grand jury. Now you may say, well, who's the grand jury going after? Here's the deal. There's two ways a grand jury works. Grand juries indict people, but you can also use the grand jury as a tool. I've been in 4, 5, 6 of grand juries where they use you as a tool to find out who's lying and were there any crimes committed between point A and point B, and then they file the charges. Gee, I don't know what crimes have been committed. Maybe Tom Brown's body was found on federal property and the feds weren't called in. Gee, what's the first thing that you do if you're a police officer and you have a dead body? Does anybody know? Yeah. You call it JP. He is the inquest man. He's the guy that's supposed to keep everybody honest. No, JP was called. That's a violation of, what is it, 4709? That's a felony in the state of Texas. Did any of the police officers or the rangers or anybody, were they ever questioned? Did anything happen? Absolutely not. That's a problem, folks. Hey, folks, that's a problem for you all as citizens. I'll repeat it again. One honest cop, Brent Klein. I'm telling you as I stand here today, he's one of the best and honest law enforcement officers I think I've met in a very, very long time. If it wasn't for him, y'all would never have known. Nobody would have ever have known. In July of 2021, now remember, we got COVID. We can't go anywhere, you can't go anywhere, and we're not convening anybody. Everybody's at home chewing gum, watching sports. All right? Some people go to work, get on their tractors out here, and they do their thing. We can't go anywhere. We're not allowed to go anywhere. We're sitting down. In July of 2021, I get a phone call. No grand jury. What? No grand jury. What? No grand jury. What the hell? We've been sitting here for a year? No grand jury? No grand jury. Why not? No reason. No grand jury. And that call came, and that's a fact. Came from the OAG. I picked up the phone, called my investigator from the OAG. What the hell's going on? She goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just telling you there's no grand jury. They're telling me no grand jury. There was a meeting with the district attorney, and they got it recorded. We'll talk about that in a minute. PIR sent to, at that point, under the law, under 552, the case is effectively shut down. There's not going to be anything else to do in the case. Nothing to be done in the case. Nothing. It's over. Cold case. That opens the door for this guy. Under 552, I filed a Public Information Request Act, and I'm very specific about what I want. On July 9th, your district attorney sends me a note. He has no records. But guess what I got? I got a recording of the district attorney talking to two ladies that says, opens his side desk drawer and pulls out a disk and says, I've got almost 1 terabyte of information. Wait a minute. 1 terabyte? You just told me, you got no records. What the hell's going on? What's going on here? I begin to think, uh-oh, Penny's in trouble. They're going after Penny. And I was right. You can see what the OAG dropped in their affidavit saying Penny lied, Penny's obstructing justice, Penny's... We're like, what? What the hell are you talking about? This lady ain't done anything to anybody. Except sit there and keep her mouth shut like I told her to. Penny goes and takes a polygraph test. Guess what? Like I've just told you before. I arranged the polygraph test with an officer with the National Security Agency, better known as NSA. He does all the polygraphs out of Dallas for everybody that wants to go join the spook service. Penny passes the first 2, and guess what? She gets rumbling on the 3rd. Well, I asked the polygraph guy, I said, well, what is it? He says, man, it's that damn phone. So I get with Penny. Penny, I'll steal the phone deal. She starts to cry. Well, I shouldn't say cry. Gets upset. And she goes, I don't know. So I called the polygraph guy back. I said, look, there's going to be something. He said, I sat her down for 1 hour and 30 minutes, and we talked about the phone. I never knew that Penny was still calling that phone number and leaving messages for Tom. He said, Philip, I'm telling you, that's post-traumatic stress. I'm passing her on 1 and 2, and you know what? I got to give her a pass on number 3. I'm not going to say a pass because that wouldn't be fair, but I'm going to say it was emotional distress. That lady right there was texting her dead son's phone. I love you, Tom. I love you. We miss you so much. Calling the phone, leaving a voicemail. I'll take that any day of the week. I'm sorry. I know you're upset. I'm sorry. That's a fact. You see, folks, now you're hearing the other side. That's what was going on. Do we have anything else? No? All right. Next slide. Okay. This is a clip taken from the T-Cole investigation, VIAPIR. This is fact, not conjecture. What's the other word they like to use? Fact. Theory. Theory. This isn't theory. This is what T-Cole said. I'll read it to you. Clapp, who's now your sheriff, advised he never brought up communications field training with Lewis. Clapp was further asked why he thought Lewis fabricated the documents and stated because he thinks that that's what happened. Clapp said, here you go, folks, fact. Not Philip Klein, fact. Clapp said it wasn't the outside of a realm of Lewis fabricating a document because he had manufactured supplemental for a missing persons case, Tom Brown, a year and a half after it happened. The sheriff was never charged with a crime. That's a crime. It held us back in this investigation, and I get emotional about it, and I get a little rowdy about it, because it's not fair to Tom. It's not fair to them. You're fabricating evidence? You're throwing us all off? let you know, here are the searches, and here's the investigatorial time. Y'all can see this. It's really not that important, but we put it in because we wanted you guys to see that we're not a fly-by-night group, and you know what? Guess what? We kind of feel close to you folks. We love the people of Canada. They've been so wonderful to us. Next slide. This is the log from Trey Sargent. What's important in this log is that Trey Sargent, who we wish she was here because she'd be talking about this, we did not find any scent other than when we brought the dog over to the family's house, opened the cars, he hit on the front door, he hit on the front seat, and hit on the back door and the back seat. After this amazing report that was put out by the OAG, I don't know if I've said it yet, but I'm going to say it now, which is one of the most amateuristic reports I think I've ever read. If she worked for me, I'd fire her. The dog is confirmed to hit on the car. Front and back seat. Y'all think about that. Why did the dog hit on the back seat on cadaver scent? Why wouldn't they let us run the dog on the backpack? I'll tell you why. It's a fact he always kept his backpack in the back seat. It's a fact that the dog hit on the back seat. I don't know. Y'all come up with your theory. I know we got ours. The boy was hurt and he was thrown in the back seat of the car. Now the OAG surprisingly comes out and bashes me for luminol, which we'll go over here in just a minute. Bashes me and says, you did the luminol report wrong. Oh, okay. Oh, and by the way, Klein only did it wrong, but he missed the blood in the car. We've always been told there was a little smidge, little fingerprint, little thumbnail thing on the front of the car. Now they admit, yeah, not only was it smidgen on the front of the car, there was blood in the back seat. Fact. Not theory, folks. Fact. That happened, according to what we've been told and according to the evidence. This is the search area. Let me kind of go over it with you a little bit. Here's Lake Marvin Lodge, right? Here's Lake Marvin picnic area, right? And this is where the cadaver dogs searched. We started along the levee, and we worked our way back here until we were met. Where is it, Kellen? Right? There it is. Until we were met right there by a patrol car that said, don't you dare go into that area down there. We got an operation going on, a cooking operation. Okay. But no, cops don't lie. Cops aren't going to lie to us, right? Next slide. Where you at? Okay. These are just simply for you folks to lay out, and we'll keep it up here after this is over. You can come up here and look. But here's your bottom line. Here's your bottom line. Here's your city. There's Lake Marvin Road, all the way down. There's where the backpack was found. Here's where the backpack was found on the left-hand side of the road, and down here is where the body was found. We have clothes all along this area. Sorry. We have clothes, we have shoes, we have everything up and down Lake Marvin Road. Yet law enforcement treated us like crap and told us we didn't know what we were talking about. And y'all need to stay off of Lake Marvin Road. That's a fact.
Why?
Y'all come up with your theory. We'll get there. Y'all come up with the theory. Tell us why. Why we're bad investigators? We're the only people that have found anything. Why? Because we get out on the street, we're busting our ass. We don't sit in an office. We don't get down to the poke and run and have coffee. We get out there with our water bottles and we get our butts out there in the streets and we find out what's going on. Next. All right. A lot of conjecture here. Let's see. How do we explain this? All right. So here's where we are right now. Y'all see that? Here's where we are. Can y'all see that over here? Here's where we are. Here's where the car is. The car is down a slide area on the bottom of a dirt road. Next. Location of the backpack. The backpack was not thrown from the road like some people say. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Unless you're Hank Aaron and you got a great arm. Or the Houston Astros, whatever. The bottom line is, somebody pulled right in here in the fence, and somebody placed the backpack. There's a fence line that runs like this. Place the backpack. Go. Oh, by the way, that's fact. That's not theory. Now, Penny, I'm sorry I have to do this, but I'm going to do it. These people deserve to hear it. The body was found by Pine Gregory, sheriff, now former sheriff. He was hunting deer shed. OAG says 9 o'clock in the morning. We heard another story by somebody else that was out there, said no, it was late in the morning. He was out tooling around while he was on duty. The body is found here. If you, as a crow flies, okay, there's a clump of trees right here. As a crow flies, it's probably 50 yards. Yes? 50 yards? 60? Not that far? What is it, 25? 25 yards, MJ said. The debris field, again, I'm sorry. The debris field consists of a skull, a femur, rib cage, humerus, and some other bones. As well is found his jeans, a pullover, shoes, driver's license, and I think a key, yes? Key. I think a key was found in the pocket. 36% of his body was found. 36. The animals got the rest. You want to get scared now? This lady over here has not been able to put her child to rest. They won't give his body to her. Now, if that doesn't upset you, something's wrong. Here's the entrance for those of you. It's called a bell pole. Where's Charlie? Bell pole, Charlie? Bell gate. That's a bell gate. Everybody know what a bell gate is? You guys, some of you ranchers out here should know. Here's the bell gate right here. You wouldn't be able to recognize that this is an entry or exit into any property out there. They cut the grass out there. They do hay. I think the Shannon family owns it. They've been wonderful. The Shannon family, God bless you if you're here. I love you. They've allowed us to go onto that property, do secondary searches, primary searches, force searches. We've done every kind of search there is. Dog searches. We've done every search we possibly can. The measured distance from the car, right here, from the car to where the body's found is 9.8 miles in 25-degree weather. No way, Tom. No way. Next. Here's a picture of the searches. The reason we say this is these are the searchers that are fixing to go out. And may I say as well, thank you to the Canadian Fire Department. We had people from federal agencies, state agencies, from Oklahoma, Kansas, I think, sent down 6. We had a wonderful group of law enforcement and public and your volunteer fire department, which by heads, you know, love them. We even had a lady that passed out there, and thank God they were there because they were able to help her. Here's the phone. Pristine condition. That's your sheriff right there, Brent Flack, doing his work. That's what it looked like when we got it. We're going to play for you now what your sheriff told the Meeks. Because, once again, this is fact. This is not conjecture. you turn it up to over here, Trey? Technical difficulties, sorry.
Take your microphone and put it over by the computer.
I got a mic right here. Pass the mic back. Passing the mic back. You like the mic? Hold on, I'm going to get it in just a second. Because you need to hear this.
The phone is in outstanding condition. The phone has been kept.
Turn it up.
Mark has been out away on the road, searching, walking. He said that, the whole thing, he thinks he's covered. And then all of a sudden during, Phil, I'm not bashing Phil at all, period. But it's just strange that Phil calls this big search on Lake Martin Road, and then just a couple of feet off the road in the bar ditch we have a cell phone. Now, how is that?
And it hadn't had much weather, is what.
No weather.
It's what blows
The
my
phone
mind.
is in outstanding condition. The phone has been kept somewhere. And I just have a problem with, and it could be somebody in town that had the cell phone and threw it out there knowing that there was a search. But on the other hand, you have to think about Phil coming in here with this big show, placing the cell phone out there. We don't know it, we don't have any evidence of it. And I'm not going to accuse Phil of that, by no means. But we have to think about every possibility and every angle that the cell phone got.
No, I understand what you're saying. If you got a cell phone, it's just if you had a wet year.
Okay, so Phil calls for the search, and he definitely says that we will find stuff on this search. We're looking for a .25 auto pistol, and we're looking for a cell phone. If I stand corrected, those are two things that he knows that they're probably going to find in this search. Okay, and he tells the media that. What two things do we find on that road during his search? We find a phone, and we find a .25 auto case that he says is a .25 auto case. I'll be honest with you guys.
Now, you know why we found it? I just gave you an hour and 30-minute presentation of why we found it. From kids telling us the story, kids telling us what to do, kids telling us what not to do, because the kids knew. Let's go to November 2017. After we finally learned the truth that Tom's car had never been searched. Go. Luminol is a product that you spray inside the car, and you use what we call a blue light. We're all trained in how to use a blue light. Again, Investigator 101 if you're serious about your job. Just because it's blue does not mean it's blood. But if it lights off, it's blood. Lights off, it's blood. And then the coup de grace. This is what we call an A-hole. Some of you firemen, I saw some paramedics back here. If you're sitting in your car, you close the door, the A-hole is right here. Now we find out through the justice of the peace that Tom had a traumatic injury to his face. So bad. And now I'm going to call Jane up here to talk about it a little bit. Jane, would you please explain? Okay. We'll give you a little bit. Jane's going to talk to you about the traumatic injury to Tom Brown's face that is fact. It's not a theory, it's fact. Now we're going to give you fact on the injuries to Tom Brown. Go.
I'm sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, we were told that there was blunt force trauma to Tom in the medical examiner's report. We were also told at the AG's meeting that there was no evidence to show how he may have died. Now, in the AG's report that they just issued, it says that he had blunt force trauma to the maxilla, the zygomatic arch, and the greater wing of the sphenoid. I'm originally from the medical field, and I was in the ear, nose, and throat business, and these are all facial bones. And the maxilla is the bone that forms the upper jaw. The zygomatic arch is the temporal bone to the upper jawbone, and the greater wing of the sphenoid is the most middle part of the base of the skull, and it's the floor of the cranial fossa. So you can get, in this, well, let me go back to the AG's report. The AG report said that there was no indication whether this was perimortem or postmortem. They couldn't tell if this injury to his face was before he died or after he died. But they did not consider that a life-threatening situation.
Now, here's Taylor. He's one of you. Okay? Show them on the face. Show the public where the injuries were.
Okay, so the maxilla is the bone from the upper jaw. This would be, I don't know what, they didn't say what side. Did they say left side? The upper jaw. The greater wing of the sphenoid is the most middle part of the bone of the skull. So that's actually behind this orbit, and it's the floor of the cranium. Here's your cranium, it's the floor of the cranium. And then we've got the zygomatic arch, which is including the cheek, is the temporal bone to the upper jaw. So it's going to be from the temporal bone, which is your temporal, to the jaw here, to the upper jaw. So basically this whole section here, sorry, I didn't wash my hands.
So
look at, so the AG's report said that they don't think that it was not concluded that this could have caused his death. It can, depending on the force, depending on the trauma. The tool used, could it have been done after he was left out in this field? Anything's possible, it's unlikely. So I don't want to discount this blunt trauma to his face.
now, I see some paramedics again sitting out there in the audience. I was a firefighter paramedic for 27 years for my community as well. You know what we call that? Somebody got their face smashed in. With such force, that it crushed from here all the way down in. The question everybody's asking, was it pre or post? We don't know, but we assume because of the condition of the skull as it was described to us. Okay? I wanted to use him so it put, because he's about the size of Tom at the time. Somebody, according, fact, his left side face was crushed in. Fact. Theory, is that what killed him? We don't know. But you got to assume. Because now the OAG has put the case in case hold. Now the OAG has said, well, it's a cold case. Ground zero, start over again. It's right there in front of them. All right, Keller.